Welcome to the next lesson in the Cake Boss project. This lesson is going to be on logo design. Now with this project, I generally do not mind what software you use. If you've got some software on your machine that you use in the house, that's fine. But I am going to give you a few different pointers on different softwares you can use. On Moodle, you're going to see some links. One's for the Adobe Spark tutorial and the other one is for the Photopea tutorial. Both softwares are very good. Probably Adobe Spark's a little bit more basic because there's less things to do in it, but this is an example of what Photopea looks like. It's brilliant. It's laid out very similarly to Photoshop, so those of you who are used to using Photoshop in school, you'll be able to absolutely thrive with this stuff. I would advise you to try them both out, as I'm going to say probably a lot throughout this video, and really show your independence. Now, independent learning, look for tutorials on YouTube. There's going to be hundreds. I'll be covering the basics in mine, but you're more than welcome to use any ones that you see. Now you are going to make 3 different logos. You're then going to develop them a little bit more, and hopefully you're going to learn a lot of new skills. The PowerPoint might look ever so slightly different by the time you come to it, because I may change and tweak things, but the core is going to be the same. At the same time, you are going to need to download your logos and paste them into this pupil booklet, which again is available on Moodle for you. On the second page, you can see there's 3 different boxes there for logo 1, 2 and 3, and there's boxes there for your notes. Now I know at the moment the logo design is in a rectangle shape. That doesn't mean I want a rectangular logo, far from it. Your logos can be whatever size you want. So if you want to do a round logo, a rectangular logo, a square logo, it really doesn't mind. I don't mind, it doesn't bother me. But what I want you to do is do 3 different designs using the same logo name, and if you need to make the box bigger there to type more in, obviously you can move things around. These are your pupil booklets, you can personalize them and change them how you want. On the 3rd page, you can see then I've got logo design 1 and 2. What I wanted to do is develop your logos. So let's say, for example, you start off with a circle and a square logo and a rectangle logo. Well, drop one of them and then develop 2 of them on a little bit. Make something then better, and then I want you to make your final logo then, which should be your best logo that you are going to make, and it's going to be the one that you are going to use. And each time you're going to download it and save it into this booklet, and then return the booklet to Moodle for me, please. So before we start, this is the criterion that you're going to be marked on. So this project's going to be up to 14 marks so far, and we're going to be looking at you developing 3 different logo designs and annotating them, then developing 2 further ones, and then we're going to final download, which is going to be at the bottom there, just for you to give me your final logo in as well. Okay, so let's have a look at a few logo designs. What's good and bad? Well, logo design is quite subjective. So if I showed you this logo, this is actually Amazon's first logo that they ever created. You can see there it's got Earth's biggest bookstore. It's quite hard to make out because of the background there, and obviously it's a little bit fuzzy. But they've obviously created this logo and it served its purpose. The design here, look, is meant to be a little bit of an A. Walking through probably it's like a river or a sea, because if you look at the background there, it's blue. They developed that logo then and made this. Much more simple. They got Amazon.com and then obviously like a mark underneath it. And now the modern logo is this, and it's got something hidden in it. It's obviously got a smile to make people obviously happy, but there's a link between the A and the Z here, because Amazon's like a directory and they want basically to say that they cover everything from A to Z. Okay, so there's lots of different logos there. And here's another example. This is McDonald's. This is how McDonald's has changed over time. Okay, so please don't think that you're going to get this nailed on your first attempt. You may make a logo and then think, oh, actually now I don't like that anymore, and then redesign it, redevelop it. And if you look at this, obviously McDonald's and Amazon have had many more years to develop and refine their logos. They started off with this, which is just some text and some lines next to it. They then started adding in some imagery, but look at the logos have changed now. So from the 1960s onwards, they went back. They didn't include any sort of cartoon style images. They've just used lines and shapes, and obviously as you've gone on, this has changed. The backgrounds have changed. The colour schemes have also changed ever so slightly, but from sort of the 1960s onwards, there's been a predominant yellow in there. But the yellow's got more subtle over the years, if you look. That was quite a harsh yellow and quite a harsh red. And the red there now has been taken out for the modern sort of logos here. This is another logo, FedEx, and I've included this part here so you can see there's actually a hidden message in here. FedEx is a shipping company, so it's if you wanted to mail something, so obviously you could use FedEx or you could use the Royal Mail and so forth, but you can see there's a hidden arrow in there, right, and it's to the right, so obviously they're shipping things out. There's another logo here which is Tour de France, and there's a hidden meaning with this. There's essentially a rider. So if you look here, this is one wheel, this is another wheel, and this is a rider riding on a bike. Okay, so there's a hidden meaning in this logo. Now, I'm not saying you have to have a logo with a hidden meaning on it, but it's obviously quite nice there to be built in. And here's now a few examples of logos which maybe aren't so great. So if I look at this logo here, the Resident Evil logo, it's a little bit strange in some ways. The colour is quite nice on it. The textures they've used, they're obviously quite interesting. But why does this look like a giraffe? To me, it just looks like a giraffe. And I don't know, I've never played Resident Evil, but I can't imagine there's giraffes inside this game. There's another example now of the logo which I found online. Smashing solicitors. Great, but would a solicitor really use this type of logo design? I'm not quite sure. Probably it's a bit more of a tech company that would use this, looking at the fonts and the styles of it. But again, you want your logos to be easily recognizable and in some ways easy to read. Now, I've included this little cheat sheet. This is something I found online as well, about colors. Now, you've all chosen a name and a brand name for your Cake Boss theme. You need to stick to that throughout. But you can see here there's different colours which represent different things, and you've probably seen loads of these logos. Some of them are American brands, some of them are worldwide brands. So if you look here, the red, they've got visceral, bold, courageous, energetic, stimulates appetite. All of these logos here are red. They've got something in between, so you can see some of them like they look Virgin, Kellogg's, you've got Canon, Lego is here, Avis, which is a car rental company, Orange, so you can see there's a few different brands that you've probably recognised, Yellow, yellow's normally optimism there, look, clarity, but what I will say with yellow is sometimes it's associated with something that's cheap or reduced. If you ever visit a supermarket and you have a look at the clearance aisles or anything that's reduced or any damaged, normally the stickers on them are yellow, and the idea is that yellow will catch your eye very quickly and you can then obviously see that and think, right, okay, that's good. So we pre-programmed to think of that. And if you think of traffic lights, red is normally a danger. Red means stop normally. Yellow means, okay, get ready, something's going to change. And then green is good. And if we look here, look, green is associated with balance, harmony, health, growth, freshness. If you think of vegetables, typically we say green veg, that's supposed to be fairly good for you. So you can see here there's a lot of brands you might have seen. I know Monster's in there. I'm not saying Monster's good for you or bad for you, but obviously Monster there, the brand term's in there, which is quite nice. You've got blue, which then is trustworthy, dependable, strong, secure. We've got purple there, wise, creative, imaginable. So you've got lots of different brands here that have used lots of different colours, but what I hope you can see with these is most of these brands will stick with a predominant colour. You don't see a lot of these brands with 4, 5, 6 different colours in their logos. I mean, if you look at the BP logo here, you've got a green and a yellow, and then obviously it fades to white. So these colours complement each other and they go well. Now, if we look at one more logo, this is the DHL logo, which is a delivery firm. You can see they've got a yellow background, which stands out, and they've got red text, which makes it really easy to read. So your task is to create a few different logos based on your company name. You can either use Spark, Photopea, or any other software that you've got. The presentation I've just gone through is going to be on Moodle above, and I'm also going to include the pupil booklet and the submission. Once you're done, please submit it back to Moodle for me and I will mark it then and return feedback. Best of luck, and if you need me, send me a little email asking for help.